The lactose sensor will tell you about your risk for lactose intolerance, which is one of the most common food intolerances out there. Now, lactose is a component of milk. It's quite common in cow's milk, but it's also present in all sorts of other types of milk. And the body loses its ability to digest lactose, which then remains in the intestine rather than being broken down and taken up into the body. And this lactose is then a very potent food source for bacteria that reside within the intestine, and they then produce all sorts of acids and gases, and these can cause very severe digestive problems. And that's the basic concept of lactose intolerance. Now, people who suffer from primary lactose intolerance, which is the most common kind, they're usually lactose tolerant as children, and usually after the age of 6, their production of producing this enzyme starts to decrease. Now, this might mean that by the age of 8, they already exhibit symptoms, but it might also be much later in life, maybe only at the age of 60, 70, or 80. What we know is that if people have this genetic variation that causes this shutdown of the digestive system for lactose, they are at an over 95% likelihood to develop lactose intolerant system during their lifetime. So we don't know when, but we know that it's very likely that during the lifetime lactose intolerance is likely to develop. Now, since this disease usually takes 5 years to be diagnosed correctly, you should be aware of your own personal risk and likelihood of developing it. And you can continue eating lactose-containing foods as long as you don't have any symptoms. But you should be aware and you should pay attention if you do exhibit any symptoms, and if yes, you should switch to a lactose-free diet. If you click on summary of effects, you will find out your own risk. If you're down here, your likelihood of lactose intolerance is very low. You might also be up here due to your genetic profile. And scientific studies have also shown that people who are lactose intolerant generally take up a lot less calcium than others. So if this is the case, we should also increase your calcium intake. So you should eat other sources of calcium, such as broccoli, or maybe use nutritional supplements that contain a lot of calcium. So this will also help you keep the calcium balance in your body in check, and it will also help you protect your bones and so on. And finally, if you click on prevention, you will get some personalized recommendations. In this case, there is no risk of lactose intolerance, but in case you have an increased risk, it will tell you how to look out for symptoms and how to change your diet to best reduce the lactose intake in your diet.